Boom.
Boom.
Let's do this. Week 3.
Week 3, yo.
Or episode 3, I
Episode
guess.
3.
It is the third week, though. Hey, I'm Rachel.
I'm Shaun.
And this week we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, emotional eating.
Yeah. I guess I have it too, but I don't know the signs, so we'll find out, y'all.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are emotional eaters, and I feel like it's kind of almost promoted and celebrated in, you just think about movies, for example. You've got a movie and somebody has a breakup or they're going through something hard, and the first thing that they're doing is like, let's go to the store and buy the ice cream, or they go and they reach for comfort food. And I'm no different, but I think even as a little girl would find comfort in food.
Yeah.
And when life was stressful, I would
eat?
I would want food.
Yeah.
It would comfort me. And as I got older, and honestly, I was really unaware that I was doing it, but as I got older, I can remember when we were living in the big gray house, and that yellow kitchen with the fake brick wallpaper.
That was awesome.
It was really awesome. But I would literally make cookie dough. It wasn't like I was following a recipe, but I'd like pull out the butter, the sugar, the flour, the a little bit of salt, vanilla.
Right.
I didn't need any of the baking soda or anything because I had no intention of actually baking the cookies. I was just making the cookie dough so I could stick it in the refrigerator, and then when
nibble on it later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, I would have it in the door, and I would just go over and I would just break off
little bits.
Yes, I would break off little bits, and
like you were like a squirrel.
A little bit.
You're like a squirrel. Oh, like a squirrel. You hide little nuts here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And as things got crazy or chaotic, or it just, that was my go-to. I would just go to the refrigerator and grab it. Or, cheese. Cheese is another thing. I love me some cheese.
Cheese?
Mm-hmm.
What color cheese?
Well, I love cheddar cheese, but, I think string cheese was an easy thing to grab.
Yeah, because you can heat it up.
Yeah. Just
make it melty. And
exactly. That's exactly what I would do.
I know.
Zap it in the microwave for
25 seconds.
I don't know how long I'd microwave it for, but, and so those were things that were, like, looking back, I can see that was behavior that I was engaging in, but I didn't really understand in that moment why I was doing those things. Looking back, I can see that, we had 2 young kids. At that point in time, you were in active addiction with your alcohol.
Yes.
And things were hard. Yeah. We were young parents. We, finances were a struggle. Work was, crazy. Your work was crazy. Having 2 young kids was just a lot.
A lot going on. A lot of balls we had to juggling.
Yeah. And
did you eat when, like, the Seahawks lost?
No.
Or when they won, or Super Bowl parties or anything like that?
I mean, I would eat at those events, but it wasn't like, oh, the Seahawks lost, I'm sad, I'm going to eat. That wasn't something that
like a sporting event type thing?
No, it wasn't like that. It was more of like when I would be stressed or overwhelmed. So if I was in maybe a social setting where I was uncomfortable, I may be more apt to, like, hang out near the food table because it's easy to talk to people, or you're having a little snacky snack.
You have a chips and dip.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, I'll be right back, I'm going to go try that.
Yeah. And really, it was like the feeling of being full. Sounds weird, but the feeling of being full was really, it didn't feel good, but it gave me some peace, because then that's really all I could focus on was this discomfort that I felt in my body versus whatever chaotic crap was going on around me, whether it was your drinking, or it was the kids being obnoxious, or me just being tired, or your work schedule and being home alone with the young kid, with our kids. and even as you moved into sobriety, it didn't make, I mean, it made life easier in some aspects, but then there's the
Food
hard,
aspect. Yeah.
well, it's the hard part of learning how do we interact in new ways now that alcohol isn't a thing.
Yeah.
What are we going to fight about now? I'm joking. But we did a lot of arguing about alcohol. And so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Well.
It was, we had to learn.
That was the dog. I was like,
oh.
Well, I saw the blanket was moving. Sorry, guys. The blanket was moving and it scared me. I thought we had to go. See?
Yes, it's the dog. He's making himself a bed.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Squirrel.
It's not like when you stop drinking, everything just
stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the using the substance; it's all of the behaviors that go along with that. Mm-hmm. And so there was still a lot that we had to work through, and I was still in the dark about the fact that I was using food to comfort me.
And I still don't see myself doing that, but I do, I guess, now.
Well, I mean,
eat.
You'll figure it out. I mean, you have to notice.
I don't. Maybe I should pay attention to that, because I don't.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself paying attention to that more?
It wasn't until we started on our health journey and I was being more mindful about what I was eating, when I was eating, and really being in a structure where I was eating every 2.5 to 3 hours and feeling these big emotions. I had some things going on in my life. I had some work stressors and I had some relationship stress that was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, it was a new space for me to try to navigate, and then realizing that, normally I would have just fed my feelings. I would have just stuffed my face.
Right.
And put my head down and just have it just be numb.
Right.
But I didn't have to, but I chose, yes.
Thank you.
I chose to lean into that discomfort and get curious about what it was that I was actually feeling. There was a lot of crying. I did a lot of crying, and processing, and then it was like the reflection of all of the years where I realized that that's what I was doing.
Oh, the comfort eating?
Yeah, and I mean, literally, I didn't know until 2021, 2022, fall of 2021, around that time. Yeah, that's when I started becoming aware of the fact that I had been numbing myself with food and that feelings were uncomfortable. And then it's been over the course of the last couple of years that I have become way more in tune with the things that activate my systems and make me want to eat, and honestly make me want to drink. Not that I feel like I had the same issues with alcohol that you did, but I mean, sometimes it's even the vocabulary, I need a glass of wine, shifting that to I want versus I need, because I certainly don't need it, but there were times when that's how I would feel, and it was because I just wanted to numb myself.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm not there. I don't see myself there.
Yeah.
I don't. I could be. I'm have to pay more mindful attention to that.
Do you? Yeah, I mean,
perhaps, because that sounds like what you did. You spent more. You were mindful of what it was going on.
Well, it's like when I was hungry, when I felt hungry, but I wasn't necessarily hungry. It's a different kind. I had this really strong craving to have something.
Yeah.
And
you had a hankering.
Yeah, a hankering. I did. I had a hankering for a hunk of cheese. A hanker for a hunk of cheese. Yeah, and so it was really being able to pause in the moment, really like a stop, challenge, choose. Like I would have learned that when I am feeling that, like I really need to like stop and really evaluate where I'm at. Like, why am I feeling this way? What is going on for me? And just taking that moment. And sometimes it's a split second and I can be like, oh, it's because of this. I'm not really hungry.
Right.
And other times, even though I recognize that it's not that I'm truly hungry, but I have to dig deeper into like why it is that I am experiencing such a strong desire to numb myself. And so just really like doing some reflection, and sometimes it's quick and sometimes it's not, and then being able to be mindful about like what I'm choosing to do going forward.
Yeah, you did good.
But you haven't noticed yet, huh?
No, I mean, no. Have you noticed I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me an example so then I can.
When you get really stressed out, you open the refrigerator a lot more.
Okay.
You're looking in there for something, and you're more apt to like want to have things that we don't normally eat. I see it. Eventually you'll see it.
Okay.
But it's your journey.
Well, yeah, it's mine, but I want to see it. I just don't see it. Maybe I have my blinders on when I'm doing that. I don't know.
Well, I think one of the things that in knowing you so well, because I do know you very well, you shut off your feelings.
That's a different episode.
It's a different episode, but it absolutely is tied to this emotional eating.
Could be.
Like, because you shut it down. It's like Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen, shut it down. And that's when the snackish desires come out for you.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll have to. That's like episode 6 or something. So stand by for that.
Shaun getting in touch with his emotions. Yeah.
Bring your tissues. That's all I'm gonna say.
I will look forward to that, because I do look forward to that, to seeing that personal growth from you, in being comfortable sharing your emotions.
Yeah.
I think just some practical things. Just know that comfort food is something that everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, that's a very grand sweeping statement. Comfort food is something that many people really lean into. And if you find yourself when you're having stressful moments that you are drawn to those kinds of things, the carby things, the sugary things, the fatty things, that it's not your fault. And it's something that's very common, and you're not alone in that. And you can overcome it. That's what I will say. Like, having that awareness is, it has been pretty phenomenal. I will say it's been really difficult. Feeling your feelings can really suck. And it's also been such a gift to myself, because I feel like I know myself a lot better than I did before. And that feels really powerful. So some practical tips I would offer are obviously the taking a moment, like when you feel your heart racing, or you start to get a little sweaty, or you hear the voices from your food. Does your food talk to you? Because my food talks to me. So the pantry will like whisper, Rachael, if we have anything in there that is something that's really
2 weeks
tempting.
in a row you did that.
Well, because
awesome.
It's my life.
That's awesome.
It is my life. The food whispers to me. And so when you experience something like that, just take a moment, do some deep breathing, reflect on what it is that is going on for you, assess where you're at, and then make a mindful choice. It's all about being mindful. It's about making choices and not just letting life happen to you. And sometimes we need to talk to somebody. I mean, whether it's your partner or a friend or even a therapist, You know, those things are really important to be able to have those connections with other people. What else has helped me with my emotional eating? Let's see. Being honest about my journey. For a long time, I was, we call it dieting in the dark. And I'm not on a diet, instead I've made lifestyle change. But dieting in the dark is where you try to do some sort of modification to your life short term, but you're not telling anybody because you don't want to fail. And that was me for a long time. I did all kinds of things that maybe you didn't even know I was doing. But I didn't want to tell anybody because I was afraid I was going to screw up. And by the time I started on my health journey in 2021, I was so ashamed and so just overwhelmed. I felt like, even in that moment, I was embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I was embarrassed of how I'd let myself go. I honestly felt unlovable. I know that Shaun loves me, but I just didn't feel good about myself. And there was no way that I wanted anybody to know that I had started on a health journey, until finally I was like, this is too good to not share. And realizing that there was something different about making the changes that we were making.
Mm-hmm.
And when I owned my story and was comfortable sharing out loud, it made a big difference for me. Did you feel that way with alcohol?
To what?
Like being open about your alcoholism with people, your struggles
Not at first,
with addiction?
no.
Well, of course not at first, but did you get to a point where...
Now more recently, yes, but I didn't like sharing my story.
Yeah.
Just because of other things that are happening with me, it just brought in other triggers.
Yeah.
And that's my own.
But having people know that you don't drink.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll share that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
But telling my story is another thing.
Yeah, no, I don't mean telling your story. I just mean like that being open about, for you, being open about being sober.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It made a big difference for you, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's also that added accountability.
Right.
Because people know that I'm not going to be the one that's going to be bringing a bunch of candy or eating a bunch of candy at a thing. Or they shouldn't expect to see me do that.
Right.
So anyhow, so be open about your journey. Be open with people about the struggles that you have, and feel free to reach out to us too, because we have been there. I have been there. Shaun is making some discoveries in that area, and we would love to just do more life with you and, ask us questions.
Yeah.
Share with us your struggles and ask us questions, and be sure to follow us on YouTube and also on Facebook and Instagram.